Hey, yo, the pizza here.
Huh?
Pizza?
What the?
Pizza? Pizza? Pizza?
Pizza!
Pizza? Pizza?
Pizza!
Pizza?
Pizza!
Pizza?
Pizza!
Pizza?
Silence.
Pizza?
Yes. I ordered a shrimp stroganoff pizza. Oh, but it's missing the topping. But worry not, my dear. I have a giant pineapple right here ready to be sliced. I'm going to fully cover that delicious pizza all
Who hired this guy? What the fuck?
Such delusions of grandeur.
Holy look at all this damage!
Hello everyone, Omenkillers here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how bike lanes and railroad trains might improve the transportation in your... Wait, no, it's not about that. It's about this build that came off based on our beloved back alley murderer, the Capra Demon. Yes, it looks like an Omenkiller, but guess what? Everyone in Paris thought the Omenkillers were Capra Demons when they faced them for the first time. But there are some changes to make it more Capra authentic, and I will be showing that what I did to make this happy eater. And I'm sorry for the make quality this time, but I had to record with the fan on because it is super hot here where I live, and my shitty microphone captures every tiny sound in the ambient. I managed to make these sounds not to be perceptible, but my voice sounds like I'm about to explode. Like always, I'm going to say right away 3 traits I find important knowing about this build beforehand. How strong it is, which stage of the game it works, that means early, mid, and end game, and how hard it is to gather the items required for this build. And then, oh boy, I was streaming my playtest of this build when I was obliterating all main bosses from the game around level 65, and my weapons at level +7 out of 25. Here's a small clip from that stream. I'm sorry about the quality in advance. More good. By the way, I am only level 66. My weapons are +7. I only hit a wall when I reach Malikath because I'm really bad against it. But if I manage to beat him, I think I wanna finish the game on that rush that I was in. So it is any good? I would say it's easy mode level good. Super easy build to use, lots of damage, and with everyone's favorite in-game mechanic, blood loss. In other words, broken.
Which it is.
It works on all stages from the game, and the most important, items are relatively easy to get. The mask and a talisman are the only exception. Let's start with the topic of weapons. And I'm saying that on plural because you will be using 2 of the same weapon. It is possible to get more than just one great Omenkiller per game. One is awarded by defeating the Omenkiller and his gifted poison ivy pet flower at the end of the performance grotto. My tip here is first try to kill the Omenkiller away from the flower and only go for the flower when the Omenkiller is dead. Performance grotto is located at Altos Plateau here on the map. 2 more can be acquired at Volcano Manor. The first one is dropped by the Omenkiller staring at the ashes or if possible his victims. What the fuck? It is just after exiting the prison church sites of grace and turn your right and try to go down through the rooftops. And be extra careful here because he's surrounded by a bunch of anorexic slaves and rabid dogs. The second Omenkiller is in kind of a hidden place that I hope I'm showing on the screen right now. Future Uncle Misher, please show the place on the screen. There we go. At least this one is not alone. At least this one is alone. The Great Omenkiller Cleaver is a great axe that requires 23 strength and 12 dexterity to wield it. Because the name of this weapon is a bit too long, from now on in this video I will be calling it
The GOC.
I'm just going to point it out that I thought about trying to use the Milo's Great Swords because it looks a lot more like the weapon that Capra Demon uses. And because you can only get one per playthrough, I gave up on that idea. The reason is, if I need someone to drop me one, everyone else watching this video and when I try this build will also need to go after someone to drop for them. And I'm sure most people like to try a build on New Game, not New Game Plus. For Ashes of War, we have a lot of options to keep the Capra Authenticity. I think that everything that is related to the attack, like Wild Strikes, which is the default skill of
The GOC.
So stuff like Stamp, Upward Attack, Lion's Claw, and Spinny Slash suits well enough. But what I advise you to take 2 of the 4 Roar Ashes of War. Braggart's Roar skills grant you 10% boost in physical damage, 10% damage absorption of all kind, increases stamina recovery speed, and changes the moveset of your heavy attacks. It lasts for 1 minute. You obtain it by killing Blackguard Big Boggart or advancing through his quest line. First, Big Boggart will be located at a shack at the Union of Lakes. When you reach Altos Plateau, he will move to the northmost of Langdale City outskirts. Warcry boosts your physical damage by 7.5% and gives 5 attribute points in strength. It also modifies your heavy attacks and lasts for 40 seconds. It is obtainable by purchasing from Baronaut for 800 runes. He may be inside the shack in Lingrave or in the lobby of Volcano Manor when you first enter it. Barbaric Roar also boosts your physical damage by 7.5% and strength by 5. It also modifies heavy attacks, but the movement between all these 3 Ashes of War are different from one another. Also lasts the same time as Warcry, 40 seconds. It is obtainable by killing a third drop Scarab at the end of the Ravinevale village, here in Leonard of Lakes. But there is an important detail. The roars in this game works like a weapon buff, so if you decide to apply poison to the weapon for example, it will remove all those bonus of the roar skill.
Shut up!
With that in mind in your left hand, you are also going to apply a roar skill. But which are the ones you should pick? Meet our test dummy for today's video. I think you all know her. I call her Dragon Mom. Because Dragon Mom is a stationary and tank target, I like to do damage testing on her. And don't worry, she'll be fine. Since I started using her as a test dummy, she's more valuable for me alive than dead. So I ran a few tests on her, only testing the Roar Ashes of Wars, which are Warcry, Barbaric Roar, and Braggart's Roar. Troll's Roar works different than the rest, so I won't be talking about it. I put all of these 3 skills on a GOC and tested it to see which one was the best combination. So first I let Dragon Mom apply her debuff on me, and then I started recording the values. First the damage without any roar or other sort of buff. just both plus 25 GOCs and my attribute points, and the damage was 612. Then I tried Warcry plus Barbaric Roar, that gave me 676 in damage. Barbaric Roar and Braggart's Roar resulted in 682 points of damage. And finally, Warcry plus Braggart's Roar also did 682 damage. But then I came up with the idea of trying using the same skill on both hands. And for my surprise, that does work. That is because, like I said, Roar buff are applied to the weapon, not the character. 2 Braggart's Roar show 688 points of damage, which is a minor gain of course, but it was the best one. Then I tested my voice. Then I tested charged attack damage. The default damage was 669. Using the Warcry skill, the damage was 1004. Barbaric Roar managed to do 1246 damage. Wow. And Braggart's Roar did 924. So with those values you can conclude that 2 Braggart's Roar does more damage for non-charged attacks and Barbaric Roar does for the charged ones. But wait, there's more! Remember that Braggart's Roar also increases damage absorption of all kind by 10%? I tested that too. Meet Jeffrey, a Godric soldier. Not to be confused with the mighty Godric soldier. He's going to show us how much of his damage we can remove from the equation. All I had to do was let him attack me with the same type of attack, and then I would kill him to avoid more damage, and then I could finally verify the damage done in the status screen. So first he attacked me with no bonus of any kind, and he damaged me for 61 points. Second, 1 Braggart's Roar buff and the damage was 55, that is about 9.84 decrease in damage. Third, with 2 Braggart's Roar, he attacked me for 50 points, which is a 18% reduction in damage. And then I said fuck it, and I applied Golden Vow, Black Flame Protection, Opaline Hard Tier from the Flexus of Wonders, and both Braggart's Roar for him to land me a damage of 24 points, for a total reduction of 16.65. But the lack of precision made me unsatisfied with these results, so I decided to scale the damage by a lot. I would like you to meet our new assistant, Crucible Knight, the motherfucker input reader. For this task I simply drank any beverage in front of him to trigger his input read attack of stabbing me, then run the fuck away from him, and quickly show the status screen on record so I could later on read it to insert the values on the script of this video. Yes, that intense. Without any buff, he damaged me for 448 points of health. After I ran away from him and barely managed to escape his strikes, I was capable to apply 1 Braggart's buff and let him attack me for a total of 403. That is a 10% decrease in damage. Again, with a bit of a gaming chair chewing, I dodged and buffed myself with 2 Braggart's Roar and let him attack again for 363 points in damage. That is a reduction of 17.4. Finally, I jump off the cliff, travel through the portal again to have enough time to apply Golden Vow, Black Flame Protection, drink Opaline Hard Tier, and screwing Braggart's Roar twice to receive a stab in the face for a total of 180 points, which is a 59.8 decrease in damage. So with those values we can conclude that Braggart's Roar helps with damage resistance. If you decide for the Braggart's Roar, after obtaining it, get your hands on the Lost Ashes of War to be duplicated with Smither Master Hugh. While you don't have the Braggart's Roar Ashes of War yet, best combo will be Barbaric Roar plus Warcry. I recommend to set the Affinities to Occult on both weapons to take advantage of the bleed status built into the GOCs. Keep in mind that the Black Wet Blade is required to set weapons to Occult Affinity. In case you don't remember, it is located in Nokron, Eternal City, really close to the Mimic Tier Spirit. While you don't have the Black Wet Blade, setting Affinity to have will be the best course of actions for the time being. By default, all rows of ashes are set to heavy, but in case you decide to use other types of ashes of war, the iron wet blade will be required. It is located at Stonewall Castle near the Grafton Scion behind a fog of war that requires a stone key to open it.
May I have a moment of your attention?
I would like to point out that there is a way for you to help me, apart from leaving a like and subscribing. If you have a minute, I made us some polls with some questions to help me out with this video in the video descriptions below. If you watch any other of my videos and voted, there is no need to check this one because these are the same polls. Now to the topic of Talismans. And by this point I think it's pretty obvious the first talisman required for this build, which is the Roar Medallion. This talisman boosts the damage of Roar skills by 15%. It also boosts by 10% the attack of almost all Dragon Commune's incantation, but we are not going to be using any of those in this build. It can be obtainable quite early on because it's awarded by the Affinity boss in Lingrave Tunnels, a mine located here on the map. This build uses a lot of charged attacks, so the X Talisman is a nice option. The damage boost of charged attacks is 10%, and this talisman stacks with the previous one, the Roar Medallion. It is even easier to acquire. It is located on a small catacomb in Mistwood, Lingrave. Just rush past the bear and grab it.
Oh, fuck.
Here on the map. Something that reminds me of the Capra Demon is the iconic jump attack that both him and the Omenkillers do. So for that, the Cloud Talisman is a good choice. It boosts jump attacks damage by 15%, which is quite useful for this build. As you can see, when I started talking about it, it is located at this tower inside the Stormveil Castle. And for the last one is no other than the Lords of Blood's Exaltation, aka These talismans increase attack power by 20% for 20 seconds when blood loss in the vicinity occurs, including in case of the player themselves losing it. It is awarded after defeating located at Leyndell Catacombs. When I say magic spells, I mean everything that occupies a memory slot, so sorceries and incantations. Even though I don't think incantations have nothing to do with Mr. Capra here, I think that without some this build would be too barebone, so I pick a few to give support to our Hornet Skull friend. And they are what you expected, if you already have some experience with this game. Flame Grasping Strength is an incantation that requires 15 points in faith to be cast. It boosts physical damage attacks by 20%, it also boosts fire damage by 20%, but this build doesn't have any of it. It also increases stamina recovery speed. This buff lasts for 30 seconds. This incantation is located at Ohio, aka Caelid, behind Fort Gale, guarded by 2 Flame Chariot, here on the map. The second incantation is Golden Vow. It requires 25 points in faith to cast it. It boosts all damage by 15% and increases all damage negation by 10%. It lasts for 80 seconds, and the cool thing is it multiplies the Flame Grasping Strength for a total of 38% increase in damage. It is awarded by defeating the invader Anastasia or Anastasia, whatever, when she invades here in Altus Plateau. And the third option is Black Flames Protection, and this build was the first time that I used this incantation. It requires 30 points in faith, so it's a bit high. It boosts physical damage negation by 35%. I repeat, it only increases physical damage negation, so it doesn't work against magic, holy or lightning attacks, for example. It also lowers by 20% all forms of healing, so that's a debuff. It lasts for 17 seconds. It is given by Ofnir Gideon. I almost named one of my cats Gideon, but no one here was able to pronounce his name, so I had to change it. It is given by Ofnir Gideon when you talk to him after reaching Mikkela's Helix Tree, so yeah, not exactly a location that I can show how to get it. There is a Flasks of Wonders physique that fits nicely in this build. The Spiked Cracked Tear. It boosts charged attacks by 15% that lasts for 3 minutes. So together with the Talisman and Ashes of War, charged attacks are going to receive a really big bonus in damage. For the second slot there is not a must-have Crystal Tear, but it's up to you which one you prefer to use on the second slot of the Flasks of Wonders, because I just checked the list and there are a lot of Crystal Tears that helps with this build, but none fit so much in this build as the Spiked Cracked Tear.
Got your ass.
And I thought after a Scaver Gutter Runner build, it would take a long time before another build showed up that has Spirit Ashes that fits nicely. I'm talking about no other than the Rotter Stray Ashes. You basically now have one of those annoying dogs from the Capra Demon arena at your disposal. And the best part of it is that it applies Scarlet Rot build-up. And all of us know that From Software dogs are super annoying. Dark Souls 3 teleport must still give me the shivers to this day.
Why are you running?
I swear that when Elden Ring releases, the Spirit actually summons 2 dogs, but maybe I'm confusing with something else. With that said, this summons only 1 dog as of today. But I think that's enough. The same way they are annoying to players, there seems to be to the mobs in this game. The capability to inflict Scarlet Rot and take aggro away from you is very useful, especially against the gank bosses this game loves so much. It is located at the Ionia Swamp, just a bit north to the Celia Understar side of Grace. And for the subject of Great Runes, this build doesn't require a specific one. That's it. I just had this chapter because I know there will be a build one day that requires a Great Rune. I use Morgoth's Great Rune because this build isn't having attribute points, so a lot of them goes to Vigor, which means the boost from this Great Rune is nice. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the most anticipated chapter of this video, where we can choose between a bunch of armor sets, but almost none of them makes a difference in this game. It is Fashion Ring!
Huh?
I think the only required item here will be the headgear, which is the Omenkillers mask. Yay, another similarity with the Omenkillers. But that is the closest thing to an animal skull that the Capra Demon wears. The Omenkillers mask boosts strength attributes by 2 points, so you can even set the strength to 21 and the mask will increase to 23, which is the required strength to one-handle the GOCs. It takes a while to get it because it's dropped by an Omenkiller located in Leyndell City, really close to the lower capital church site of Grace, located here on the map. For the rest of the armor set, I think the champion set suits well for the Capra Demon. Mind you, Capra Demon only uses a Thor short and that's it. The closest thing from it is the Prophet trousers, but only that's kinda bare bone. I think a barbaric look fits nicely here. In my case, I kept the Champion's Pauldron for chest armor and Champion's Bracers for arms, and used the Champion's Gaiters until I got my hands on Duelist Greaves. The main attributes of this build are Arcane, Strength, and Faith, in this order. Although it goes heavily on Arcane, at the beginning of the game this attribute won't play a major role on the build. Actually, I think it will only start to matter when the Black Wet Blade is acquired, so Occult Affinity can be set to the weapons. With that in mind, the 3 options for a starting class for this build are Champion, which has 35 points in total of the main attributes, Confessor also has 35 points on the main attributes, and Prophet has 37 points in total. I started with the Champion class, which is the one I recommend you to start with, mostly because it requires only 10 more attribute points to be able to wield the GOCs. For comparison, Confessor requires 11 points and Prophet 14. Also, the Champion comes with the Champion armor set, so you don't need to go after this. But like I always say, there is no right class for a build, because you can eventually get all requirements for a build in any class, but there are classes that bring the best result quicker, so it is up to you which class you wanna start. Now let's talk about attribute points for this build. Before anything, I want to say that a rebirth will be required for this build, when you finally get your hands on the Black Wet Blade. Like I said, the 3 main attributes of this build are Arcane, Strength, and Faith. Arcane is mainly to take advantage of the fact that the Great Omenkillers have the bleeding status built into it, so it increases blood loss build up if Occult Affinity is set to the weapons, plus a lot of physical damage. I don't even know if there is a case where Blood Affinity is even more advantage than Occult in a build, because although Blood Affinity gives more blood loss build up than Occult, the latter is also increases blood loss build up and much more the physical damage. So if there is a case where Blood Affinity is better than Occult, let me know. The second attribute, Strength, comes in play before Arcane because you won't be able to set your weapon's affinity to Occult, so meanwhile, the affinity will need to be set to Heavy, like my accent. After acquiring the Black Wet Blade and set the affinities to Occult, damage scale of the Strength gets quite lower, so Strength priority goes down the hill, like Twitter, or X, LOL. Nome bosta, hein? Puta que pariu. and Faith is just so you can use the incantations I recommend. But 30 points will be required if you wanna use the Black Flames protection. So to start, make sure you reach 23 in strength and 12 in dexterity as soon as possible to be able to use the GLCs. After that, distribute the way you think is the best between strength, vigor and endurance, and even faith if you already started using one of the incantations. Because the 2 GLCs weights a lot, some points in endurance will be required. I don't remember exactly the value, but I think it's somewhere between 17 and 20. After the keep load problem solved, I went for 40 in vigor because, like I said in the other video, at the beginning of the game I prefer to go for more health than damage. That requires to level up the weapon above the intended level on early areas to actually take the most advantage of. When you finally get the Black Wet Blade, a rebirth with Renala will be required to take the most advantage of the Occult Affinity. For the rebirth, get the required 23 in strength, 12 in dexterity, and 17-20 for endurance. Put the vigor on what you consider adequate for the area you are playing through at the moment. It's most likely will be 40, if you already reach Landel Capital or Deeper Depths, so around level character 90 or 100, better go for 15 in vigor. If you are using incantations, put the required points in faith for your chosen incantations to work, so that may be 15, 20 or 30. The rest dump in arcane, like all in.
I'm going all in.
Because even past the soft cap of arcane, which are 40 and 60, it is still better than going for strength. Just keep in mind this is just to guide you and not something set in stone that must be followed flawlessly. Most likely, adjustments will be done to fit your requirement at certain points, like for example the fact that even talking about mind and the amount of focus points. I managed to use all weapons and skills incantation with little focus points because I have Cerulean Flasks to cover that up. You might find that it is not enough, so apply some points in mind to deal with that. So there you have it, nephews. This is how trends will improve the... Well, wait, no. This is the Capra Demon build that came out through Elden Ring. Like always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like zone, and if you're new, please consider to subscribe to your new favorite uncle. No pun intended. And the most important, make sure to activate all notifications from my channel, because YouTube doesn't like the fact that my small channel doesn't flood the platform with a video every single day. This content of this channel is made by me alone, and I always prioritize quality over quantity.